Hi, I'm Brett Davis, the editor-in-chief of Inside Unmanned Systems magazine, published by Autonomous Media. We're here in the booth talking with some of the movers and shakers here at the show, and right now we have Joel Klooster from Inmarsat and Cyriel Kronenburg from uAvionix, and there's going to be a bit of news committed here today. So, Joel, I know in recent days, Inmarsat has been announcing a lot of partnerships, Supernal, Volatus Aerospace, so just kind of talk us through what's going on with those.
Yeah, sure. We're here at Xponential. Really exciting time in the industry, especially for us at Inmarsat, taking our experience in commercial aviation, safety communications, and applying that to the advanced air mobility space via our Volaris business, exploring the use of L-band SATCOM in the AAM world here, and a couple of big announcements that we're really excited about that we've made here in the last few days with Supernal, who's a manufacturer of the eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing, urban air taxi platforms, exploring the use of L-band SATCOM for a command and control link for those applications. And then just this morning with Volatus, who's a manufacturer of both crewed and uncrewed vehicles, some of which have very long mission times, up to 24 hours. And in those kinds of mission profiles, that type of flight time, you really need beyond visual line of sight communications link to support those types of applications and operations. And so announced a partnership with them where they'll be using our terminals and our communications link to provide engine control for their vehicles as well.
So let's talk about the reliability of the Volaris system. I mean, because to fly BVLOS, you can't have brakes. I mean, you're not going to have a downtime in there. So talk a little bit about, what reliability the system provides.
Sure, and I think it'll lead into a good discussion on multi-link, because that's a really important topic for this industry and this market. But at Inmarsat, we've been providing safety communications, L-band SATCOM to the aviation industry for 20, 30 years now, for oceanic traffic where there is no VHF coverage, no radar coverage. And it's a really demonstrated high reliability, highly secure communications link to support those air traffic control communications. L-band, narrowband, not susceptible to rain, fade, operates very well in all weather conditions, high and low altitudes, which really makes it a good use for those really critical communications between the aircraft and both air traffic control and the airline operations center. And so as we look at where the advanced air mobility market is going and the need to operate beyond visual line of sight, there's a variety of communications links that can support that. And L-band, we believe, has a key role as one of those links when there aren't other links available. You're in operations at high altitudes, when other links are not performant enough to support that command and control operation.
Sorry, we got a technical difficulty. Are you okay? No, it's fine. So with the AAM market, the advanced air mobility, those are big systems. And then some of Volatus is kind of the smaller systems all the way down.
Right.
Are there different challenges with the vehicle size for what you're doing?
Well, I think in this market, for these types of vehicles, obviously size, weight, and power is really important. Different applications have different needs. I think when you're talking command and control, the bandwidth is some amount of telemetry, the command control commands to the aircraft. L-band is very well suited to those types of things. We talk video streaming for surveillance, pipeline inspection, wind farm inspection, some of those kinds of things. Yeah, it's a good always-on link to be able to provide compressed video and things like that as well. I think one of the big differences from commercial air transport to this AAM segment is the size, weight, and power sensitivity. And so we've really been working with partners like TTP in the UK, the technology partners, to really take those commercial aviation terminals and antennas and shrink them down to something that's really miniaturized for these smaller vehicles, but also ones that are electric powered, where you have heavy batteries on and where range is a really key point for the manufacturers. And so every ounce makes a big difference.
So that must have been quite an engineering challenge then to meet, because you literally are going from quite large vehicles to very small ones.
Right. Yeah. Yes, it is, and making sure that you can meet the performance requirements, meet the bandwidth requirements in a form fit that will actually provide the right economics for the operators.
Okay. So are companies sort of surprised to learn that this capability is? You can sit back down there.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Are some of the companies surprised to learn that this capability is available to them when maybe they didn't think it was?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. I think we're really trying to get the word out, raise awareness of what's possible. The regulations are still being developed. A lot of different types of operations, a lot of different OEMs with different views on what types of communications links they want. I think there's a growing consensus that multi-link is going to be required, and there's a variety of different links that are appropriate for different types of operations, different scenarios. And to rely on only one link is probably not going to be appropriate for a lot of operations. I think we've got a lot of history in the commercial aviation space, a lot of background, a lot of data that supports how the L-band link can operate. I think there's a lot of surprise when we show the terminal and the size of it and the weight of it that you can actually fit that type of a terminal into that form function. So yeah, it's impressive. When I joined Inmarsat eight months ago, and it was one of the first things I saw. It's pretty cool.
So go by booth and see for yourself.
Yeah.
All right, Cyriel. Folks, the air in here is super dry. In case you aren't here, and plus we're a mile high in altitude, so let's go wrong. Tell us. So what is the news here?
So we've done quite an extensive series of test flights using the AUVSI terminal with our link manager, multi-link. So we flew the flight out probably about 60 miles over a lake where we had continuous switching between LTE C-band and the L-band SATCOM link, effectively demonstrating that you could have a single link to the autopilot while in the background you have multiple links managing that and the reliability of that link. It worked very, very well, way better than we anticipated. It was actually fairly easy to start flying like that. So it made us a very strong proponent of starting in a partnership with Inmarsat and offering that type of capability as an addition to what we already do with our multi-link. As Joel mentioned earlier, I think ultimately the type of link chosen for mission is dependent on the mission and the risk of that mission. It's unthinkable that somebody would fly passengers in the future using a link that's also used for a garage door opener. So you're going to use something different.
Right.
And what we're trying to do and what a link manager's principal design is to get diversity in links possible. And there's certain use cases that just won't work without the SATCOM link, and there's certain use cases that are better suited for C-band, but I don't see a lot of use cases that will satisfy only one of those.
Right.
So that's ultimately where we want to play, and we're very happy that we're working with Inmarsat to do that. And we've got a couple of customers that are working on that integration, and so yeah.
This is one of the tools, because I know your system is intended to pick up a signal of whatever type is needed at a given time. So this is one of the
so it's a combination of one of our operations where we both have a customer jointly is up in the Canadian oil sands where they're doing a long-range infrastructure inspection. We are purposely installing some C-band infrastructure. There is a well-defined LTE infrastructure, but nothing is perfect in that situation. And the regulator says, well, that's a very heavy drone that you're flying. How do you know for sure that C-band link or that LTE link or that SATCOM link is going to satisfy my safety requirement? So what we did there is really demonstrate that you could get to those 3, 4, 5 nines of availability and reliability on a link that is actually a diverse link without necessarily having the remote pilot make that switch every time something goes wrong. Because you want to take that piece out. You want to automate that, you want to do that along software design assurance levels that a regulator understands from regular aviation. So, and we had a panel yesterday where that was really the topic. the regulators the whole industry is at that tipping point where we're stepping away from the sandbox environment, and now we got to demonstrate it in real life. And that means a regulator needs to have something to understand and to grasp. And using SATCOM technology that already is in a safety certified environment, using TSO C-band radios is something that the FAA understands. So it allows the operators to come up with a package, whether that's Supernal or one of the other eVTOL companies. They will need a package that they can go to the regulator with and say, hey, here, this is all pre-done, this is pre-proven technology, we just packaged it differently. But ultimately, you're already flying aircraft with that technology, so it's not that different for urban air mobility or for large cargo drones.
So it's safe to say that the system plays well with others, right? I mean, you can integrate it with a variety of different things.
Yeah, I think one of the key things from my perspective is it's a new market. There's a lot of new platforms being developed, a lot of new operations and use cases being developed. But what I think most people would agree with is the success is going to be that these new types of vehicles can integrate into the existing airspace seamlessly. We don't want to have to change the way that commercial air traffic operates to accommodate these autonomous platforms. So the more we can make them look and feel like the existing air traffic out there and integrate into the existing commercial airspace seamlessly, that's what's going to define the success of this industry. And Cyriel did a great job explaining why multi-link is so important in choosing the right link, the right performance for that situation, which is the way it works in commercial air traffic today. Historically, it's been oceanic, but in Europe, we're launching the new IRIS program that provides over continental European airspace the ability to use both VHF communications as well as SATCOM communications and use that multi-link environment to reduce RF congestion, to allow different types of data communications to be exchanged with air traffic control and allow more efficient operations in the airspace. And so I think you're already starting to see that happen in commercial air transport. And so it's just a natural extension to this AAM space as well.
So you're having some good conversations here at the show and, like you said, educating some folks. That's great. Is there any other area of this that we should explore that we didn't get into?
I think that we covered it.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Go see them both. They're both here at the show. Learn more about SatLinks and how they can help you. Thanks so much for coming over.
Thank you, Brett.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.